Hello again. Here's a quick update on my newly purchased Honda CRF300 Rally. So I've had the bike for about 3 months now and I've done about 1,000 miles on it. And also I'm just going to answer some questions that I've received about why did I buy a 300? Why did I buy the Rally? What happened to my previous CRF? What happened and why did I sell my CL500? And also whether I considered buying the 300, the Voge 300 or the CFMoto 450. Both bikes, understandably, are getting everybody rather excited at the moment. And then also, I'm just going to explain now why I go trail riding. Anyway, let's start with the history. I previously had a standard CRF300L with YSS suspension front and rear, which was pretty much my perfect trail bike for the kind of riding I like to do. Anyway, I smashed my right knee and leg up 2 years ago, and then 11 months later I still couldn't ride a bike with normally positioned foot pegs, so reluctantly I sold the CRF and bought a Honda ADV 350 scooter. Fast forward another 12 months and following more surgery, my mobility had improved such that I could then ride a normal bike, so I purchased a Honda CL500 to kind of ease myself back into riding a bike again. So the CL was a fabulous bike which I really enjoyed and which is much underrated in my opinion, especially for whizzing around B roads, you know, where it's just brilliant. However, it also allowed me to explore a few gentle trails, and I realised it was trail riding that I had missed the most following my accident. For a while I did consider making the CL a little bit more trail friendly, but the sump design, wide back wheel and weight meant it was always going to be a bit of a compromise, to be honest, and I really needed something lighter and much more easier to handle on the trail. So I part-exed it for the CRF Rally, and as to why I bought the Rally version, well, I never like revisiting exactly the same bike again, plus this time around I wanted something a little bit more versatile, particularly with respect to tank range and weather protection, as I wanted an option other than the scooter for doing long distances on the tarmac. At the same time, the Rally is a known quantity and I knew how it would behave on the trails, i.e. exactly the same as the standard 300L. Having said that though, I have noticed a couple of differences. One is purely psychological, you know, and it's to do with the amount and width of the bodywork, which is kind of at the back of my mind in the event of a drop, but also practically with respect to the width of the petrol tank, which doesn't allow you to slide forward when running through berms in a corner, or to grip the tank with your knees when standing up. So that's probably the main difference to the 300L off-road. Neither is a big deal, but I did find it interesting how two pretty much identical bikes could also be subtly different. Despite that though, on the road, the Rally is a much nicer place to be, and I'm getting well over 160 miles out of the tank before having to fill up, which is just brilliant. Okay, did I consider a Voge 300 or a CF 450? Not really, to be honest, and that's nothing to do with the abilities of both bikes or any concerns about the perceived reliability of either bike, as personally I believe that's a non-issue these days, you know, given how much stuff is manufactured in China. You know, and the Voge 300 at like, God, I think it's nearly like £3,000 less than the Rally, is just incredible value, you know, especially if the intention is to batter it to death on the trails. And in that context, I do have to say that the price Honda UK charge for the Rally, which is around £6,400 in the UK, I think that is a bit fruity, to be honest. So for me, it was a combination of two things that made me go for the Rally. First of all, a really good Part-X deal on my CL500, and also that subliminal emotional comfort blanket of the Honda dealer network, particularly in the context of wanting to do some longer distance travels on it. You know, for me, that's worth paying extra for. I guess there is also the itchy boots experience, which, like Charlie and Ewan before her with BMW, kind of provides a level of external justification and confidence. I guess, you know, it's a little bit like buying insurance that you never use. So that was my motivation for buying the Rally. Right, plans for the bike. Well, first of all, a rack and some sort of luggage solution. I don't want to go down the route of having millions of little bags strapped all over the bike, plus a big bag or a box on the back would mean that I wouldn't be able to get on the bike or get off it. So I'd have to use the box to do that. Anyway, so I'll need to do some more thinking about that. Suspension. So the rear, especially, I think everyone knows, is probably the weakest part of the bike. And having upgraded my 300L with YSS suspension front and rear, I know how it absolutely transforms the bike off-road. It's so much more composed in all situations, and it allows you to hit more challenging trails, not only faster, but also with much more confidence. You know, and confidence is everything when riding off-road. Having said that though, I still maintain the standard suspension will still get you anywhere you want to go off-road. It's just that you have to ride slower and you have to ride to the suspension's more limited capabilities. I am hesitating with the suspension though, as post-accident I actually need the softness and the sag of the rear suspension in order to be able to get on the bike. Plus I have difficulty standing up on the pegs these days, so I'm much more of a paddler, a sat down paddler than I used to be. So we'll see. I think YSS do a shock with a 10mm shorter body, so that might be the answer, as I don't really want to change the suspension linkage, to be honest. So yes, in summary, the Honda CRF300L Rally is pretty much everything that I need. I mean, it's great for exploring, it's great for riding the little B roads, it's great for doing the UK green lanes and byways, which is what I really bought it for. And also, perhaps counterintuitively, the lack of power really works for me from the perspective of my own personal risk profile. So the lack of speed means that I don't go anywhere near A roads and big busy roads, and instead I just stick to the B roads. And also I am absolutely not tempted to overtake. Well, you know, unless I come across John Longstaff dawdling in the gutter somewhere. Sorry, John. And the other thing is, it's totally versatile. The Rally has the added range and weather protection and versatility I was after. And off-road, a small, low-powered and easy-going bike is so much easier to handle. You know, particularly if you're an average rider and you come across situations outside of your comfort zone, which is me most of the time. Essentially, a bike like this maximises whatever skills or experience you have and gives you a much better chance of coming through unscathed and therefore building more confidence, which, as mentioned before, is the paramount factor when riding off-road. And finally, I've said this before, but UK trail riding isn't enduro practice. UK green lanes and other users of those lanes have to be respected and not antagonised. And this bike is quiet, it's suited to non-aggressive riding, and it doesn't need or like being ridden too fast, yet it will still take you where you want to go. So basically, job done. See you later.